Welcome to Mojo Travels, and today we'll be looking at what you should do if you're ever stranded abroad, whether due to COVID issues or any other problem.
Are you a fan of our videos? Be sure to subscribe to Mojo Travels and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.
For this list, we're looking at general advice on how to survive a vacation that goes on longer than expected. Just be sure to be responsible and don't travel if you suspect you are ill or contagious in any way. Let us know in the comments what advice you have for this situation. Book the next flight possible. The constantly evolving COVID-19 pandemic has meant that many countries have changed the rules about who can and can't cross their borders countless times since March 2020. Borders closing is one of the biggest reasons you might find yourself stuck in a foreign country longer than necessary. The first thing you should do, if you don't have COVID or are not in quarantine of course, is also the most obvious. Try and book the next flight out if flights are still going on. If there aren't any commercial flights, then the chances are that you're going to have to wait to be repatriated by your own government. This means that your government will charter flights and send them out to bring people back home, and until they do that, you might be stuck abroad. This is also an option if flights drastically increase in price, which will likely happen because of the rise in demand. You won't be the only person trying to book a plane home. Get money. If you can't get a flight and it looks like you're going to be stuck somewhere for a while, make sure you have enough funds to last you. Many people take out cash when they go somewhere with a different currency because it's more preferable than trying to pay the fees to transfer currency at an ATM. Given the current global situation, it might be wise to just take out much more cash than you think you'll need, so long as you keep it hidden somewhere safe and you're sure not to spend it on souvenirs. That extra cushion could ensure that you're able to keep buying necessary groceries and other essentials for the duration. Plus, if you take out extra cash and don't get stranded, you can easily convert it back into your own currency. You'll probably lose a little bit doing this, but it's better than being caught short. Do your research. This is something you should do ahead of time, but if you've got consistent internet access, you can do it if the worst happens as well. Essentially, make sure you know what the rules of the country you're visiting are regarding COVID-19. Things like whether masks are mandatory, how much social distancing is required, what tests are available, whether there are different rules for vaccinated travellers, and what the quarantine laws are. Though it's true that the situation is always changing and rules can get stricter with a moment's notice, you should still prepare ahead of time as much as possible. Beyond a public health crisis, it's worthwhile to know the laws and customs of your destination regardless. It won't do you any good to avoid thinking about the worst happening if the worst does happen. Get tests. Another thing you should make sure you have before your arrival are COVID tests. Ensure you know exactly which test your destination country is going to accept as proof that you're not infected or that you can cut your quarantine short. Buy them ahead of time and bring them with you. It's true that buying tests can be expensive, but you don't want to be forced to quarantine for longer than necessary because you simply don't have the means to prove that you're not going to transmit COVID. You should also make sure you know where and how to get more tests if you need them. Maybe they need to be ordered online, maybe you need to go into a pharmacy. Whatever the case may be, you're going to thank yourself if you're already prepared. Go to the police. COVID-19 is not the only reason you might get stuck abroad, however. It's been a fear many travellers have had and can come about because tourists in big cities are particularly vulnerable to thieves. If you have your money and passport stolen, you're likely not going to be able to make it through customs to get home. If this is the case, your first stop should be the nearest police station to report the theft. Maybe they'll be able to recover your items or maybe they won't, but if there's a paper trail and a record of your crime, your case for getting repatriated or getting an emergency passport at short notice will be stronger. The police will also be able to advise you on the best course of action in that particular country and may be able to provide some support. Let your family know. Always tell your friends and family if you're not going to make it home when you're supposed to. Though it can be costly to contact people from abroad, roaming charges will vary depending on what country you're in. For instance, if you're from the EU travelling to another EU country, you're not going to get hefty data fees. However, even if it is expensive, it's an absolute necessity. You don't want your family to panic about whether something awful has happened while you're elsewhere, so do your best to keep them up to date with everything that's going on. If you need to quarantine, tell them how long for, and if there's something they can do to help, tell them that too. Getting you home is going to be their priority just as much as yours. Get vaccinated. In 2022, tennis star Novak Djokovic was banned from competing on Australia based on his unvaccinated status. To avoid finding yourself in a similar situation, and to be a caring, thoughtful, safe and healthy person, you should get all of your vaccines before you leave, with time to spare. If you can prove your vaccination record, you're just going to have an easier time regardless, and you'll also be at a significantly lower risk of contracting a disease and being hospitalized. Nobody wants to land in a hospital in a different country after all. If you're part of the very few who can't get vaccinated for legitimate health reasons, take all the necessary precautions and get to grips with the travel rules before you get on a plane. Contact your travel operator. If you booked, for example, a package vacation through one tour operator, you'll need to talk to them first if you're stuck abroad. The travel operator may be able to help get you onto a commercial flight home, and if nothing else, they should reimburse you for the cost of your missed plane tickets, as the circumstances would be out of your control. Read the fine print on refunds before you book. In some regions like the EU, it's the airline that owes you the responsibility of getting home if it was them who cancelled your flight, for example. So again, ensure you talk to them as well. Finally, if you are wise enough to get travel insurance, let your insurer know what's going on and provide as much info as possible so that they can make a robust claim at the end. Get to safety. You could be travelling in a country that has civil unrest or a history of natural disasters. In the case of any wars or political turmoil, you hopefully knew about the potential for that ahead of time, but crisis can come out of nowhere. Where natural disasters are concerned, though you'll know if you're going to a destination at risk of earthquakes, earthquakes are notoriously difficult to predict, so you could still be caught in a dangerous situation. If you are somewhere at risk of earthquakes, volcanic eruptions or tropical storms, make sure you're completely aware of this beforehand, and also of exactly what you should do in a disaster. Maybe that's seeking shelter, getting to higher ground or going to an open space away from tall buildings. Just be sure to get the right information for any potential event. Contact the embassy. We already mentioned waiting for your government to repatriate you if you can't get on a commercial flight home, but they can't do that if you don't first contact your country's embassy or consulate and let them know that you're there and you need to leave. If your belongings are stolen, you'll also need to talk to the embassy so that they can verify your identity and arrange a replacement passport, as well as put the necessary procedures in place so that you can get home safely. As a citizen of your home country, your embassy has a responsibility to help you. At the very least, they'll certainly be able to advise on everything you need to do. Though, if there are a large number of tourists waiting to get home, they might be difficult to get in touch with. You'll have to persevere if this is the case.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from Mojo Travels, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.